everybody. Anthony Navarro here with Colorado Shooting Sports. I'd like to talk to you today about flashlights. We just had a couple days of really bad flooding here, and bridges and power lines and everything was out. So I think flashlights are critical because a lot of people go through their day expecting there to be electricity when they get home, and that's not always the case. So one of the things that I think is very underrated, but I think is also really important, is there's these little tiny $2 or $5 LED keychain lights that you can get at different stores. Usually it's like an impulse item kind of thing. I can tell you right now, one of those on a hunting trip that I took did a lot to actually save my life. So I actually, after that event, bought a bunch of them and gave them out as gifts to people. So I highly recommend getting those. Those are really neat because they're very low power and they last for 100 hours on one battery. They're not overpowering. They give you just as much light as you need and not any more. And they're very durable, so I like those. I would be very cautious of the flashlights that you tend to find in like Home Depot or Lowe's. On the package, you can get like 2 or 3 LED flashlights. And it says lifetime warranty on the package, but I can guarantee you I've broken every single one that I've gotten. And in an emergency, you're not going to be licking an envelope and sticking in a flashlight to be returned. So I would caution you guys against getting those types of lights. I mentioned LED lights. They're pretty much the norm now, whereas a couple years ago the incandescent lights were the popular thing. But LED lights are pretty cool because the bulb itself, or lack thereof, is kind of indestructible. I'm also a big fan of having the activation switch on the back, not on the side like you'd find on the mag lights. This way you can actually operate it a lot more effectively and use it with a weapon if you have to. So I highly recommend that. I like flashlights with dual modes, one where you can tap the button lightly and it'll give you just a little bit of light, and then you can tap it a little bit harder and it'll give you increasingly more powerful light. So I'm a really big fan of those. You can also screw it all the way down and just get continuous light as well. So if you need to hang it on something, that's something you can definitely do. You can actually see the modes from 15 lumens to about 170 lumens. And the battery's getting pretty low on this. Really big fan of handheld lights because when you walk into a movie theater, it's one of the things that I carry with me every day. So I highly recommend having a handheld flashlight. That brings us to the topic of a weapon-mounted light. And as you can see here, with this particular flashlight here mounted on this little machine gun, I can actually choose to activate the white light, get the results that I need, switch off, light that guy up if I have to. But the really neat thing I like about this is it's modular. So I can actually take this flashlight right off the rifle. Let's say I run out of ammo or there's a malfunction. I can then transition it over to my pistol and I can get that same effectiveness on that light. So I'm a really big fan of these. Let me give you an example of how people use these incorrectly. Imagine there's a loud noise in your house at night. You go into your kid's room to make sure your kid is safe, and you flash a flashlight right at the bed where your kid is lying to see if there's a bad guy there. That's really bad because you pointed a flashlight at him, but you also pointed your muzzle right at your kid. So again, even if I'm running a weapon like this with a flashlight on there, I'm still going to operate a handheld to navigate. So a lot of people are going to start making excuses right now, so I can already kind of imagine what's going on. Oh, too many things to do and all that. That is a training issue. You need to train with your flashlight. So there are ways to do it very effectively and very easily. Another thing that people forget is that you decrease your liability by owning a flashlight. So imagine I'm about to take a shot on a bad guy and I have night sights on my gun, so I know the orientation of my muzzle, but I can't tell if he's a bad guy, and if he is a bad guy, what does he have in his hands? And all of that is going to be information you can get by turning on that flashlight, getting that information, and then taking that shot. So from a legal aspect, I highly recommend owning a flashlight to avoid going to jail or to make it a lot easier case for your attorney to win for you. Again, there's a lot of flashlights out there. I highly recommend coming in and checking out the tactical flashlights that we have. We lifetime warranty them. And one of the neat things I like about these is that the batteries in them, if you don't use the flashlight, the batteries have a 10-year life, that they're still going to have 90% of their energy after 10 years. This tiny, tiny little battery in this flashlight gives me more power and more runtime than the big, massive D-cell batteries that I remember when I was a kid. So, again, come check us out at Colorado Shooting Sports at 2435 8th Avenue here in Greeley. Check us out on the web at coloradoshootingsports.com, Colorado Shooting Sports on Facebook, or give us a call at 970-395-0664. We used to run a low-light night fighting class, but for some reason this very inexpensive class was getting very poor attendance. That needs to change, because the events of the last few days should show how critical it is to not only own one, but to know how to use one correctly. Thank you very much and have a great day.